Hi, everybody. It's episode 459 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. I am Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
I fucked my sleep schedule so bad, I'm so tired.
How so?
I've been up till like 1 in the morning the last 5 days.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that.
That's normal to me.
Well, because your sleep schedule is fucked.
I mean, it's 1 to 8. It's not that bad.
It sounds terrible. But isn't your 8 really like 8:50? Or do you actually get up at 8 now?
I mean, right on Monday through Friday, I am up and out of bed by 10 after 8 because I have to clock in for work at 8.
Wait. Roll back for a second.
You heard me right. You heard me right. I am out of bed by 10 after 8 because I have to be clocked in by 8 o'clock.
Do you clock in from your phone or something?
No, I clock in late.
Well, this is why his work fucks him all the time. He's just late every single fucking day.
Yeah, no wonder you're never out of work on time. You're late every day.
It's not like those 10 minutes actually affect my productivity.
Don't they, though?
I stay 10 minutes late every night, or however late I clock in at, I stay that late every day to cover those 10 minutes. But it does not affect my productivity, because whether I clock in at 8 or 9:30, I'm still not doing work till 11.
I don't like it.
You know what? It's how I get away with only doing the bare minimum that my job thinks is required.
Yeah, but also for what it's worth, you wake up I think at least 2 hours later than Drew or I do on work days.
Yeah.
So yeah, your 1 to 8 not as bad as Drew's 1 to 5:30.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much.
True.
Oh man, so for what it's worth, I am also still very tired. We basically we got back from the shore, and then I've been up at 5:30 for work the last 2 days. So it's just been, haven't quite caught back up on my sleep schedule either.
Man, you guys are babies.
Man, we were both outside on a beach for 13 hours.
Yeah, like 12, 13 hours a day.
Well, you're babies, man.
Man,
babies.
you can't even cut your own lawn.
15 miles in 2 days in the sand.
I can't even walk a mile right now, okay, guys? Without being in excruciating pain. Trust me, if I could go to a concert like that or whatever, I would have. But a combination of money and inability to walk keeps me from doing fun shit. And, I talked to work today. There's nothing they can do to help me out.
That sounds about right.
I'm fucked. Yeah, I mean, it was worth a shot to ask them.
I
can get into that
asking can't hurt anything.
Yeah, I can get further into that after, or if we want to get into the monotony of my work life on this podcast.
No, we're good.
We definitely can.
We are good. We're gonna jump right into things. Rich, what is on the agenda?
On the agenda, like Drew and Cobb said, they did a lot of music this weekend. I had some time to just veg out, and so I watched the Iron Chef on Netflix, the new one. Cobb, finished?
Not Amazon.
Not Amazon. I don't know where you thought it was on Amazon for.
Dude, I was not awake when I sent that this morning.
Chris, you watched the finale of The Flash, which I am still on episode 4. You played more Tears of the Kingdom, and I played more Star Ocean. It's been kind of slow. Yeah,
I just included that because you haven't really mentioned it in a while, so I thought maybe if you had any little check-in.
I might have it beat before we record next. Might have it beat before we record next week. I don't know.
Okay, well we can punt this to next week then, so that you can talk to it in more depth.
Well, I don't know if I'll have it beat by then. You
have just confirmed you will have it beat next week.
No, I can't. I'm not confirming that because I don't know if I'm going to be streaming on Sunday or not.
I mean, you're streaming Saturday. Play it on Saturday.
No, Saturday is dedicated to Mario Kart and Smash Bros.
You can't play Mario Kart and Smash Bros. For 16 hours.
Yes, you can.
That sounds like a terrible time.
For you.
For everybody.
Maybe. No, people like Mario Kart.
No one likes Mario Kart.
A lot of people like Mario Kart.
I don't believe you.
Then I don't know what to tell you. A lot of people like Mario Kart.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I've also challenged myself to unlocking Gold Mario, which is a lot of work on my end. If I can
before Saturday?
No, for Saturday. That's the goal, is to unlock Gold Mario.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to have them unlocked for Saturday.
No. The goal is to finish what I need to do to unlock Gold Mario. So to unlock Gold Mario, you need 3 stars on all the vanilla tracks, or on the base tracks. And the original, like the Mario Kart 8 tracks and the Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks from the Wii U. For everything, 200cc, mirror mode, all of it. It all needs to be 3 gold stars. I've jumped into 200cc a few times, but I've never actually been able to stick with it. So it's just going to be a lot of potential frustration, oh my god, I did it. I don't think I'm going to get it done on Saturday, because it's all of the tracks I still have to do for 200cc, and if it doesn't retroactively go back to mirror mode as well, I'd also have to do mirror mode. I don't think I'm going to get it done, but it's a challenge that I put upon myself also while doing community tournaments for Mario Kart. When that starts at noon, as long as we're still live.
All right. Well, enough of that nonsense. Drew, how was your adjacent?
I mean, it was pretty good. The logistics on Saturday, especially to start, were real bad.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, they at least righted it fairly quickly.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, they had all the water things open within, like, 40 minutes or so?
No.
Oh, the one in, VIP was open within 40 minutes.
Yeah, the one not in the VIP was, like, probably 2 hours.
Oh, that sucks. That one also had a terrible line the entire weekend, so I never even tried to use it.
Actually, there was, like, no line on Sunday.
Oh, when I walked by it, there was actually quite a line.
That was the merch line.
No, I know, the merch. So that was the biggest issue I noticed, was the way they handled merch. They had one merch booth, 37 bars.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they split the merch up and have, like, 2 of them on 2 different sides of the fucking thing?
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, they did, like, that, like, it was 100% helpful what they did, because you could actually walk the path. But they had that, like, they put up turnstiles so that you had to kind of walk through things. But then they broke it across the path and had it just go across the beach and then back down the beach and then back down the path.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I did find out there was a merch booth in VIP that I didn't know about, when you had asked about it. They only sold the adjacent stuff, though, and they only sold the black hoodie and the white t-shirt.
So, real quick, guys, but before we get too deep into talking about the weekend, explain to the listeners what the fuck Adjacent is.
Oh, so it was a 2-day music festival on the Atlantic City beach. Predominantly like pop punk, emo, hardcore, like mostly bands that at least at one time fell into those categories.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 headliners were Paramore on Saturday and Blink-182 on Sunday. They definitely sold more Sunday tickets, judging by the crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Which I totally get. Paramore tickets for their tour were significantly cheaper than Blink-182 tickets.
Yeah.
Even 1-day VIP passes for Sunday would have been cheaper than Blink-182 tickets at any of the nearby spots they were playing. And they weren't playing in Philly, so like that was the closest place to see them.
To be honest, I'd rather have gone seen Paramore though, because I don't like the original lineup of Blink-182. I think what's his name that left it? It's Mark Hoppus, right? Who left?
Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge. I think Tom DeLonge fucking sucks as a performer and as a person, and I would much rather see them with Skiba like I did at Firefly a few years ago.
I don't know. I like Tom. He's fine. He's goofy.
I don't like him at all. I think he sucks as a performer. I think his voice is terrible, and I do not want to hear him sing any songs.
Oh, see, I like him.
Yeah.
I like him singing Blink songs better than I like Matt Skiba. I like Matt Skiba in Alkaline Trio. I did not like him singing with Mark.
I much prefer Skiba over.
You have bad musical taste, so it's okay.
Not really. We have similar musical tastes.
No, you don't listen. You don't really listen
sucks.
to music.
I do. It's just I have a love-hate relationship with music right now because I don't know what I want to listen to anymore.
It's because you don't listen to music.
No, I do listen to music, but every time I put it on, I'm like, I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to listen to this. And then it turns into like the same 3 songs all the time. And I'm like, man, I need to find other songs to listen to, but I just don't want to listen to.
Well, listen, me and Cobb both have 30-plus hour playlists on Spotify with a shitload of stuff you've probably never listened to.
Oh, I'm sure.
Some of it you might even like.
Maybe. But it's not about whether or not I like it when I'm in that feeling of I don't want to listen. It's not about I like it or not. It's about I just don't want to listen to it at the time. It's just not sounding good at the time.
Yeah, because you have bad taste in music.
No, it's not about the taste. It's about I don't want to listen to it. It's just...
So you don't like music is what I'm hearing.
No, it's not taste. It's not preference. It's literally... I mean, it may be part ADHD. I put on a song and I'm just like, yeah, this isn't what I'm looking for. This isn't what I'm looking for. And I'll skip a million fucking songs and go to a million different genres and just not find what I'm looking for. And then just lean into my comfort songs, which aren't necessarily what I want to listen to, but are just songs that I don't mind listening to all the time.
So what I'm hearing is you don't like music.
No, that's not it. It's not about not liking music. It's hard to explain. It's fucking hard to explain.
I'm just fucking with you. It's fine.
I know.
We all know you don't like music. It's cool.
It's hard to explain how it is.
But yeah, so other than Blink and Paramore, there were like 30 bands each day or something like that. 20,
Sounds about
25.
right.
There were a lot of bands. It was split across 3 stages. So they did something similar to like what Warped Tour used to do, where they would have 2 stages side by side, and one band would play on one stage while the other band set up on the other one. So there was always somebody playing on the 2 side stages. And then they had the maiden stage, which usually had 20 to 30 minute breaks between bands. And that was mostly the bigger bands. And as the day went on, their sets got progressively longer because they were progressively better known bands until the end of the night when the headliners performed and they each got 90-minute set time frames. I think
like a normal festival, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part. I know sometimes like even the headliners don't get like a full set if there aren't enough other stages. Like if you know what I mean? Like if they have too many other bands playing that like everyone has to play on the same stage.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Sad Summer. Like even getting in later into the night, nobody really got longer sets until probably like who was it? Water Parks and Neck Deep, I think, were the 2 headliners last year. But yeah, I thought all the bands were really good for sure. I don't think I saw a bad set while there.
Agreed.
How about you, Drew? Yeah. Anyone stand out that like you hadn't really seen before or?
The LS Dunes. They were super good.
Well, they were on one of the side stages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were playing during somebody else that we wanted to see.
They, like, crossed over with Starting Line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we went to the Starting Line.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you a single The Starting Line song.
You almost certainly know The Best of Me.
Maybe.
But,
LS Dunes is a super group.
Yeah, because it's got Travis from Coheed and somebody from Coheed, right?
It's got
I'm sorry, and somebody from My Chem.
Yeah, the other guitarist from My Chem. Not Mikey Way, the other guitarist.
Yeah.
And then the bassist and drummer from Thursday.
Okay, so like a bunch of people were doing double duty.
Yeah, well, Thursday played the day before. Travis from Coheed literally played 2 sets in 3 hours.
Right, because it was like the Starting Line, somebody else, and then Coheed, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think Japanese Breakfast was between them.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, Coheed put on a really... Did you see Coheed?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put on a very good set. They usually do. Yeah, so Rich, just because you're a Coheed fan, after...
No, I don't like music.
I know, but you like Coheed. You really like Claudio's comic books.
I do like his comic books, even though I've never actually read them. Even the one that I bought at Comic-Con this year that I was going to get signed, but my ankles were killing me and decided not to, I haven't even read that one.
I am not surprised. I do remember you buying that one, though. Don't you have another one that, like, Eric got at one of the conventions one year?
Yeah, he got me Kill Audio, and he got it signed by both Claudio and Chandra, I believe.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So after Coheed set, the band Turnstile was on, and during that band, Claudio and Travis, their guitarist, were in the crowd, like just like taking pictures with people and like being actually like super cool with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You could like Claudio came out with his son, and like there was a bunch of other people with him, but like you could tell he had come out just to try and like watch some of like the show from like the crowd, but like That dude is unmistakable in a crowd.
Oh yeah.
Especially when he was on stage less than half an hour before. But like every time a person went up to him, like he stopped having whatever conversation he was having and like fully engaged with them, took pictures. At one point, like the whole group had to like go back, and he had to stay with like somebody from adjacent, like that, like a staff member. And that person was like on the way out, and like one last person had come up and asked if they could get a quick picture, and you like I could just see on his face, like as he's like looked at people, he's like, I really have to follow them, so yeah, just real quick, and then I have to run. And like he took the one last picture and then just like took off down the beach. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was very cool because like, you know, they could have just ignored everybody, like just said no anytime somebody came up and just watched the band and then like gone back behind the thing when they were done.
Yeah,
or even gone up to like the industry tent thing that was over there and like kind of like been away from all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those guys seemed very cool. Trying to think what else kind of happened there. Like Drew said, like Saturday was a little bit of a shit show. I think something happened as soon as the gates opened, because then they shut the gates almost immediately.
Well, they never even opened the gates on the GA side on Saturday.
Okay. So as we were walking up the beach, it was like right about 12 o'clock. And I could hear an announcement that saying that they had to postpone things, and then immediately started talking about medical emergency, like etiquette, basically, like what to do if you need medical attention. So I kind of assumed somebody had gotten in and just immediately passed out or something.
Probably, but yeah, like nothing told to the GA side.
Yeah, so the only reason I even heard this is because we were far enough up the boardwalk that we were kind of closing in on where the main stage was and could hear the the announcement from inside the festival. Like it wasn't made to the people waiting in line or on like the boardwalk speakers. It was just coming from inside the festival.
Gotcha.
So like something happened. Something happened, and so Rich, the show was supposed to open, like gates open at 12 o'clock. Gates didn't end up opening until closer to 12:30. Mm-hmm. And at that point, their one band, Jersey Calling, was actually supposed to play at 12:15. So
yeah,
there was unfortunately nobody there for their set on Saturday. Luckily, they had a second set on Sunday, which had people there. But a bunch of other acts, like they were very close together in like a way that like they probably wouldn't have been before. Like there was a little more overlap than initially scheduled until they kind of, I think a few bands had to cut songs from what I was seeing on like setlist.com and or setlist.fm. So I think like they were just like, all right, instead of 30 minutes, you're going to have like 25 minutes, and we're just going to do that to everybody so that we can catch back up and not go overtime. Mm-hmm. But once that was sorted out, like most other stuff seemed okay. Like there were definitely some issues with they had a single merch tent that just sold everyone's merch, and they had no line system for it on Saturday. It was just a few hundred people all crowded around it, completely blocking. They put down like hard plastic things in the sand for like a walking path, and specifically for like ADA and stuff like that. If you were in wheelchair, crutches, or just like could not walk through the sand for, like Drew said, he did 15 miles back and forth. I think we clocked it from like near the front of the main stage back to the side stages could take you about 10 minutes if you were actually just walking just through the sand. Mm-hmm. Probably a little bit more if like you were taking your time, like if you weren't rushing to it. But
so the festival was on the beach, and it was all on the sand, or was it like
yeah,
fuck that, I would never want to go to that concert ever.
So again, they have actual hard plastic walking paths all the way to the stages. So technically it's all the way to the ADA stages. So like you have trouble walking, so like it would make sense for you to go to the ADA booth, get the wristband, and then you can go up onto like the risers where there's seats too. So like if you get tired of standing because like, you know, standing for 12 hours, like because you have bad ankles is going to fucking kill you. Like you can go chill up on the seats.
I mean, I should look into shit like that at this point. I don't know what I would have to do to actually get like...
You go to the tent and you just simply ask for a wristband.
No, like, because I'm sure you have to show proof that you...
No, they're not allowed to.
At those?
They're literally not allowed to ask you. Legally.
If you were trying to bring in something that could be used as a weapon, yes, you might have to prove it. Or like, but yeah, if you just go up there and you're just like, I can't walk for this long, they will give you a wristband, and then you are allowed up. They had 2 ADA stages. They had one at the main stage, one at the side stages. The only downside was the one at the side stages wasn't covered, but I'm pretty sure the main stage was, right, Drew?
The majority of it was, yeah.
Right, like the edges weren't, right? But like if you were in the middle, it was.
Yeah, there was like probably 20 seats that weren't covered, but then like 80 that were. Yeah,
so like there were seats, you could stand. They had porta potties right next to them for like bathroom stuff. They also had a VIP area that had like its own elevated section, which had some seating and stuff in it and wasn't just sand. The only time that you really had to be in the sand is if you wanted to stand directly in front of a stage. And like it wasn't just on the beach, like it went all the way into the ocean. So there were people like literally like standing in the water listening to bands. And a lot of people just had beach towels, and they were like sitting far enough away that they weren't like in like causing issues for the crowd, but they were just like laying on the beach, like listening to the bands play.
Okay.
Yeah, like we did it for a couple. Like there was a gap where there wasn't anyone specifically playing that like we really wanted to see, but there were a few bands on the side stages where it's like I would like to listen to them, and then there was going to be 2 bands on the same stage back to back, so like one band in between them on the other stage that I wanted to see. So I'm like, all right, well, let's just like find a good spot. We'll put beach towels down. We'll just hang out here, listen to who plays, see if they're any good. And then when the bands that we want to see comes on, we'll get up and we'll move closer to the crowd. And like, that was perfect because standing for 13 hours would have fucking sucked. We ended up doing the same thing on Sunday because I woke up with the worst fucking headache on Sunday and just could not get rid of it all day.
So all that drinking, you got hungover. You shouldn't have drank that much.
So I have a tendency, I get headaches if I don't get enough sleep or if I get too much sleep. So like if I go to bed at 2 a.m. and then wake up at 7, I'm probably waking up with at least a minor headache.
Mm-hmm.
That on top of being out in the sun all day just killed my head for some reason. I ended up, it was bad enough, I bought a $12 tiny-ass bottle of Tylenol at one of the casinos, because that was the only place I could get it.
You should have just messaged me or had Erica message Sarah.
So this was early enough in the morning that, like, the concert wasn't even open yet.
Oh, okay.
Like, on Sunday, our Airbnb was actually, it was a really nice place. The person that, like, owns it apparently does not believe in curtains. And all of the windows just have those like plastic shade thingies on them, like the big dangly ones. Those don't stop light at all. And you know what time the sun comes out this time of year? Like 5:30 in the fucking morning.
Mm-hmm.
So by like 7 o'clock, we were just fully awake because it was just bright as hell in the bedroom. So I think like we got up, like got ready, and just like got an Uber to the boardwalk and like found breakfast. But after that, I'm just like, I need to find something. Like, I'm not going to make it through today with my head hurting this bad. But it worked out because, like, even with that, like, throughout the day, like, I would be fine for a little while, and then I would just, like, feel kind of, like, off. So being able to just, like, throw beach towels down and just kind of, like, sit against the VIP pavilion thing in the sand at the main stage, it was, like, I had something behind me, so I wasn't, like slouched or, like hurt back, and it was cool. It was a little shaded. It was a good time.
That's good.
Yeah. I definitely had fun. If they do another one and it has like a good lineup, I will absolutely get tickets again.
Same, but I probably won't pay the full price and wait for them to cut the price again.
Yeah, like, and so the weird thing is, it's like it went fairly well this time. Will the tickets immediately sell for that high price, or did they learn their lesson and realize people are not going to buy the tickets at that price?
Yeah, I have to imagine they won't sell them for what they sold them for this year if they do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, like, while it was expensive, like, the VIP tickets were totally worth it. Just not having to wait in lines for anything was enough. And, like, for Erica being able to go up on the pavilion thing to actually see bands where on the sand she couldn't really see anything. Also, surprisingly nice bathrooms.
Yeah, the porta potties were pretty bad.
Oh no, I believe that. So they had like 4 of these like truck bathrooms that like they had like the stalls weren't just stalls, they were rooms. Like it was like floor to ceiling doors. And some of them actually had the sinks in the stall with you. Like it was weird.
Mhm.
But yeah, I enjoyed Adjacent. A lot of good bands.
Did you have any band that you had never seen before that you particularly liked, or
that I never seen before? I really like seeing Midtown because I don't think I'd ever gotten to see them before. I think they may have broken up before I got a chance to. Motion City also put on a really good show. I don't know if you were down there for that.
Yeah.
Did
I was like one person. I think there were maybe 2 people deep from the stage.
So you were like right up front.
Yeah, I was all the way off to like the right,
like between the 2 stages.
No,
the other way.
Yeah, stage right.
Okay, yeah, like we were like back middle ish, but even Erica, who like you've been to enough concerts with us, like she does not like being in the crowd just because of like the way people like shove and like to stand in front of the shortest person when they're 7 feet fucking tall. Like she was in the crowd and like didn't have any issues. Like a few people that were tall like stepped in front of her and then like noticed she was standing there and actually moved to the side to make sure she could still see. And like at one point somebody behind us, like I did not have a clear could have like had her phone up, but there was a guy behind her that was probably like 6'3", 6'4", saw her trying to take like a picture from where she was and like offered to just like do it for her and like took like a bunch of really good pictures for her. So like they just that band seems to have just a very chill, cool fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the people rowing on the ground? Like there were videos of it going around.
No, I have not seen the videos.
Yeah. So Rich, during Motion City soundtrack, the singer Justin, like between songs, goes, "I just want to point out there's like a circle of people here just sitting on the ground rowing in unison." And like I saw videos online afterwards, and there was probably like a dozen people just sitting in the sand pretending like they were in rowboats. Yeah, it was very weird. But yeah, otherwise, like a lot of the bands I'd seen at one time or another. Andrew McMahon was actually really good.
Yeah,
like other than like his like 2 big songs, I had never really listened to him, but like that dude put on a really good show.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, a lot of his bigger songs were from like his other bands that he had been in.
Yeah, that is true. And then Paramore and Blink did great jobs. Like both of their sets were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Did you end up going to either of the after concerts, or were you just
no.
toasted by the end?
Yeah, no. There was plus there was Sarah definitely wasn't gonna want to stay up for either of them.
Yeah, like Erica was totally willing to go to Senses Fail. But between just being exhausted, being kind of hungry, and seeing the group of people standing outside that casino, I'm just like, no, let's just go find something to eat. Like, we're on the boardwalk. There's got to be stuff open at midnight, right? You know, turns out there is, but everyone else had the same idea.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's midnight in AC. You're either going to be gambling or eating.
Yeah, I'm surprised how many of the casinos, like, their food stuff closes, like, kind of early.
It might be because of COVID. Like, obviously, there's not COVID regulations really much anymore. There still are, but not as heavy. But it's probably because they adapted a new sale model or business model due to COVID, and they haven't changed it because supply chain issues are still shitty. So it's cheaper for them to close than to keep it open throughout the night.
You know what? That actually makes sense. Because, like, I expect most of the restaurants to close because those things never stay open that late. But, like, I was surprised at how many of, like, the quick food places seem to be closed very early. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that actually does make sense.
Yeah, like for instance, like, say the cost of grilled chicken. Like, with the cost of grilled chicken, having like, a pre-cooked grilled chicken sit around for a half hour for no one to buy it is going to lose way too much money than it would be to just... You know what, let's just close it and not have any of this sell.
Yeah, plus, I mean, like, not even just the food cost, but, like, you're paying a person to stand there. If you're only doing one sale an hour, you're probably not making back that person's salary for the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the least of their concerns. It's more the food cost, I think, than it is what's it called? The payroll percentage. It's
Really?
more the food cost. Yeah, it's definitely. If it's anything like how, I mean, my McDonald's is run by a shitty fucking owner. But like, we were only allowed under 20% labor cost. And so, like, yes, we needed to cut hours, but they would rather have somebody stay overnight to do the maintenance work and cleaning overnight, and have us make up that maintenance, which 99% of the time we did make up that labor cost over the course of over the course of the sales throughout the next day, than we did by not having him there.
Oh,
Like, because the idea is, like, I don't really know. Let's say $15 an hour. $15 an hour for two people to be working from the hours of midnight to 6 in the morning. That's only $30 an hour, and they're doing everything that needs to get done as well as cleaning. That $30 an hour is going to be made up over the course of the next, from 6 in the morning till midnight. It's going to be made up, no problem, over the course of the next 18.
Okay, that's fair. I never worked in food service, so I didn't realize that was how they they thought about that.
Food service cares more about wasted food than they do about. Well, I mean, they still do care about labor hours, but wasted food is more. It's more cost effective to watch out for wasted food than it is to watch out for labor hours.
Okay then. Well, speaking of food, Rich, how'd you enjoy the Iron Chef on Netflix?
Let me tell you, this new season of Iron Chef is really fucking. It's like Iron Chef, the search for the Iron Legend or something like that. And basically what they did is it's a whole new cast of Iron Chefs. The only one that I know prior to this season there's two that I know prior to this season. That's Marcus Samuelsson and Curtis Stone. Are the only two that I know of prior to watching this season. And then they had a couple of other chefs that
Curtis Stone was an Iron Chef? I thought he only competed on it.
No, he's now an Iron Chef.
Oh, I think, so you meant the only two chefs you knew.
The only two chefs in general that I knew on this show, prior to this show, are Marcus Samuelsson and Curtis Stone.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant, the way that you had sort of like that sentence flowed, I thought you meant that because Marcus Samuelsson, I believe, was also an Iron Chef on Food Network. I think he won one of the next Iron Chefs, maybe?
He might have won one of the next or whatever, or might have been in some battles. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time since I watched ICA, and it's been a long time since ICA actually made episodes.
That is true.
Because it's been at least 5 to 6 years since ICA had shows. At least 5 or 6 years. So what they did with this new series, like they have all of the chefs. Morimoto is not an Iron Chef this time. He's been an Iron Chef since Japan, since 95.
Well, he retired during Iron Chef America, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think they had a special thing for his last battle. But he's been in Iron Chef since in Japan. He's not a chef, but they have Marcus Samuelsson, Curtis Stone, and 3 others that I can't remember their names. As the Iron Chefs, they have the same chairman. They have the 2 of the 3 judges in each episode are all the same. It's a woman. I can't remember who she was because I don't know. I can't remember who she is because as far as I know, she wasn't famous before this. And then it was Andrew Zimmerman, who was like Man vs. Food and stuff like. Or no, not Man.
Yeah, Man vs. Food, right?
Man vs. Food.
No.
Was it?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong show. Bizarre Foods. He was Bizarre Foods.
Bizarre Foods, yeah.
You said Man vs. Food, and I just had like, no, yeah, he went around the world eating weird shit. That's Man vs. Food.
Yeah, no. It was, I can't remember what Man vs. Food, what his,
he
Adam Richman.
He did
Adam
all the
Richman,
eating challenges.
Yeah. But it was Andrew Zimmerman who was Bizarre Foods and a bunch of things like that. Like, I recognize him. And then they always had like a guest judge. So it was always the same 2 judges and a guest judge. Morimoto was a judge for the last episode. And there's a special reason why, and I'll get into that in a second. And then they had Alton Brown as host, same as ICA. And a new host, her name is Kristen Kish, who's like apparently a well-known like chef.
Yeah, so she...
And this is...
she does 2 other shows. She does the show on Travel Channel called Fast Foodies, with 2 other chefs where they have a celebrity come in and tell them what their favorite fast food is. And then the 3 chefs first have to recreate that thing, like, as is. So, like, I'm sure at some point, like, the Whopper was one of them. So they all had to make a Whopper taste as much like a Whopper as possible. And then the second round is they have to, like, make their twist on that thing.
Okay.
It's a cool show. And then she did, like, a travel food show on Disney+.
She's awesome. And I feel like the dynamic between Kristen and Alton Brown has made this show worlds better than the show has ever been. Like, I was just blown away by their commentary and how they work together and how they, like, hosted, and honestly, the knowledge that the 2 of them have about food. I was just like, this is fantastic. This is great. And so they changed it up where normally it's just chef versus Iron Chef, where now, like, each season they're trying to find, quote, the Iron Legend. And so if a chef can beat the Iron Chef of their match, they'll let you, like, you'll get the score, and whichever chef who beat their Iron Chef had a higher score throughout the season gets to come back on the last episode of the season, and they have to face off, making a 5-course meal against each of the Iron Chefs making a single dish. So it's a 5-course meal versus a 5-course meal, but it's a 3 versus 5 type of thing, because it's the chef and their 2 sous chefs versus the 5 Iron Chefs. And I was just like, this is actually a really interesting idea. It puts a little bit more weight to it than just, oh, you have to win. It's now like, oh, if you win, you get to come back and, like, try to do something even crazier. And so it's just, like, the one thing I don't like about the new season is it's the same chairman, but they turned him even more into a character. Instead of him just being...
He was quite a character by the end of Iron Chef.
He is, I mean, I didn't watch, like, a lot of the end stuff, but I just remember him always being, like, there and present and just, like, kind of, like, regal, I guess, and, like, always just looking about and watching. And just, he would talk at the beginning of the episode, but, like, now he's just, like, it's kind of, like, not made fun of, but, like, it's over the top amount of character. And when he's presenting, like, the special ingredient and stuff, he's doing a lot of hand flares and things. And I'm just like, he's an awesome chairman. He's a great actor. 'Cause he knows he's not related to the original chairman of the original series.
No, he's fucking Jimmy Lee from the Double Dragon movie.
Yes, I guess. I've never seen that movie, I don't think.
Oh, it's a real bad fucking movie. It's that guy is Jimmy Lee, and the guy from Party of 5 is Billy Lee, and what's her face, Alyssa Milano, is just random character. And it's like a post-apocalyptic, like, future where, like, you pay for oxygen. It's such a bad fucking movie.
But, like, yeah, he's just an actor. That's it. He doesn't really know about food. As far as I know, he doesn't really know about food or anything. He's just an actor. And so, like, they're letting him test out his acting chops, I guess. But it's just like they made him too much of a character. But besides that, like, the entire series, like, all of the special ingredients, all of the, they themed it now. So it's like, it was like, instead of it just being like battle pork, it was battle tailgate. And you had to make, like, tailgate based foods.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Different meats. They did the final match, the 1 versus 5 match was, they gave the challenger the choice, and it was land and sea, and so they had to choose land food or seafood. And so the challenger chose seafood, instead of doing land. So, like, they did, like, clams and scallops, lobster, things like that, crab. Friggin', I did not realize how big fucking king crab were, dude.
Yeah.
Those things are huge.
Am I misremembering, or wasn't one of the episodes literally like Iron Chef versus Iron Chef?
There was an episode. It was probably, like, supposed to be a special. It was 2 Iron Chefs versus 2 Iron Chefs, and it was Stone and the French chef versus the Mexican chef and the Chinese chef.
Okay, that's what I thought, but
yeah,
we watched it, like, shortly after it released, which I think it released last year.
It was last year, at some point last year.
Like last summer, maybe?
Summer, yeah.
It was, I agree, though. Like, it was a really good twist on that show.
Mm-hmm. It was a really good twist, and, like, they just, like I said, one thing that really helps the show is, like, the commentary between Alton and Kristen was just so good. And like they're like, I mean, Alton, he's more of a food journalist, but he's become more of a personality. Like, their portrayed excitement for all of this and everything that's going on really brings the show together even more. Like, they help put together why this show is so good. Because if they're just sitting there like, oh yeah, then they're doing this, then they're doing that, and blah, 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 it's boring and you don't want to watch it. But the way that they're excited to see some of these chefs cook and what these chefs are putting together, I'm just like, man, this makes the show so much better.
Yeah, I remember having a good time with it. And like all the Iron Chefs that they got for this one were good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like the French chef. I can't remember her name. But she's like she is like a very hyper personality.
Yeah. I remember who you're talking about.
She's super fun. Yeah. And then the best part was the finale, Morimoto judged, and everyone was just in awe being next to Morimoto. It's like, I do not deserve to be at this table with Chef Morimoto. I don't deserve it, and I'm honored to be even eating the same food as him. I'm like, yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree, because I've been to his restaurant once in Philly. And it was fucking amazing.
And that wasn't even him cooking.
No, it wasn't even him, but it was his recipes. So, but yeah, it's a great show. It was something that, like, I don't know why I decided to watch it. You know what it was? I had major acid reflux attack on Saturday night that, like, really knocked me out. So I sat there and watched TV while hacking up a lung, not realizing it was acid reflux.
That sounds like a bad time.
It was. It messed up my weekend. It really did.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'd gotten home at, like, 7, and I was just coughing and coughing. I'm like, it's allergies. And I pushed myself to record one episode of The Long Dark, and, like, I held in coughs so much throughout that. This way, it was less editing I'd have to do to get them out. And I get done, and I'm just like, I can't do another. I can't hold this in any longer. And then I'm like, you know what, let me try eating a banana to see if that helps. 3 hours after I'd gotten home and was just not happy, I finally ate a banana, and it helped.
That sucks. But hey, at least you got to watch Iron Chef.
Yeah, it was a good show. I've always loved Iron Chef. I always loved those, like, cooking competitions. I've been watching Chef Show a lot lately because I'm trying to manifest them making a new season of that. I don't know if they're ever going to. But Iron Chef, like, I really hope they pull out, like, more seasons of.
Yeah, I was just looking at the Wikipedia page to see if they, like, had anything mentioned on here, but there isn't. I will say Netflix actually does have just a bunch of pretty good shows, like cooking shows.
They do. But they also have some pretty bad cooking shows as well. And so it's like, it's hard to figure out what to watch and what not to watch. Like, I remember back when, like, the cooking show explosion hit shortly after, like, Netflix was really starting streaming. And, like, they had, like, High Chefs or something like that. And it was, like, always cooking with cannabis. It was probably called Cooking with Cannabis.
They have a bunch of, they did have a couple of those. So does Hulu.
But it was cooking competition with weed.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, like, none of them, like, made it to where it was, like, CBD. It was all THC shit. And everyone by the end of the episode was just high as fuck. And I tried watching one episode. I'm like, I'm not against any of what they're cooking. But this is not entertaining to watch these judges that are just high off their ass try to judge this shit. That, like, doesn't seem like they really know what they're talking.
Yeah, I will say now they have, like in the last year or so, they just came out with a bunch of different cooking shows. So there's some that are more like home chefs things. So it was like Easy Bake Challenge, I think, was one of them, where it's like home chefs and they don't really get things to cook with. Like, they don't have stoves or regular ovens. They basically have a convection oven that they're only allowed to use for a limited amount of time, and they cannot use it until like a timer goes off, basically. And that it's not a timer they can see, it's just a buzzer goes off, and that's when they can use the oven, and they have like a specific amount of time that it'll be turned on for. And they're generally given some sort of like task to make things. I'm trying to think what some of the other like decent one would. There was like a junk food one that was actually kind of cool, where like they got their ingredients out of like a vending machine. Like that's how they had to pick what they had to make for that episode. I mean, it was usually they had to recreate like a junk food item, and then make their own twist on a junk food item. And like a lot of the stuff they came up with was actually super inventive. Some of it failed fucking miserably.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one I remember us watching, actually there were two. There was one where it was like the real world meets Chopped. So it was, let's say 12 chefs all got like put into like a house together. They weren't allowed to leave. And every episode they were given like new cooking challenges, but they never saw any of the judges or the people giving them the challenges. And in certain cases, they had to pick one of the people that was like one of the chefs to be a judge for that episode. And that person had to blind judge all the food. So there were cases where they would, unintentionally like vote off like one of their friends because that person made a worse meal that week.
Yeah.
Which that one was surprisingly pretty good. And then there's another, the last one was, it's like Willy Wonka, but cooking. So they're in like this weird, like everything is edible set and they have to make like whimsical things. So
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah. I forget what it was called. It was kind of cool though. Somebody basically made a watermelon look like a ham and it was pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I did enjoy that Iron Chef one though too. They did a very good job with that.
They did, and I hope they come back with more of it.
Yeah, you know what? Netflix is pretty good about that. It's only been a year, so I feel like they usually give things 2 seasons before they cancel them unceremoniously.
Mm-hmm. I think this might be big enough that people that they'll be like. Obviously, Netflix doesn't release their watch numbers or anything like that, but I think this, like Iron Chef in general, is a big enough name that I think it'd be silly to not bring it back. Yeah, I agree, but we'll have to wait and see. It's unfortunately one of those Netflix things where they might not make another season for 3 years just because they just didn't feel like it. Mm-hmm.
Or like they already made another season, but they're not going to release it for another year.
Mm.
Because that fucking place. Anything else you want to say about Iron Chef though, Rich?
No. It's a great show.
I agree. I do wish they still did did it regularly.
Yeah.
So I did finish The Flash on the CW. You said you're still on like episode 4 or 5, Rich?
Yeah, I haven't watched it since I watched it.
So everybody dies. Just everybody. They
That's
actually,
what I figured.
They blow up Earth Prime.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to watch
That
it now.
works.
Everyone's dead.
Good.
They were
Good.
dead all along, actually.
It's a dream.
Yep.
So did the entire series take place during the coma dream after Barry was hit by lightning, and he wasn't actually hit by lightning, he was just in a fucking coma hit by lightning?
No, it
and
wasn't
not
even
Speed
that.
Force lightning?
It was just Patrick Duffy in a shower.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So it didn't just end in a black screen as somebody walked into the diner?
Nope.
Okay.
No, but Bob Newhart did wake up. It was really weird because I kind of thought Bob Newhart died.
I'm trying to think what else we could reference. Everything else is just waking up. The only thing that's coming to mind right now is Married with Children. After Katie Siegel, she had a miscarriage.
Oh, right.
So the season that she was pregnant,
they retconned.
They retconned by her waking up, and then the entire season was a dream because she didn't actually have the baby, and it would have been too hard for her to act that way.
Yeah. Holy shit, Bob Newhart still kicking, 93 years old. Fucking good on you, Bob Newhart. Yeah. But yeah, so this season was ish. Like, a couple of the episodes weren't bad. You and I had kind of talked a little bit before, like, they did too many time loop-esque episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this season had a lot of, like, time travel that wasn't normal time travel, and then also normal time travel. It's like, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
like, we get it. They all can run really, really fast, and it messes with time. Give us something a little bit different for the final season, everybody. But, you know, as far as, like, wrapping up a show like that can go, they actually did a pretty good job with, like, the final bit of the final episode. Like, they kind of gave, like, as good of a send-off as they could for all the characters. There were a few that, like, were missing because they'd, like, either left the show or died or whatnot, but, like, overall, like they stuck, like, the ending pretty well. And, like, left it open in that weird way where if they ever wanted to use that particular version of the Flash for, like, a cameo or something like that, it wouldn't be, like, a weird, like, well, how's this working? Like, they can't do it with Green Arrow. Like, Oliver's dead, right?
Yeah.
But at least they left this one kind of like with Supergirl. Like, they're still out there and, like, it can still be a thing. Trying trying to think. The final 4 episodes were like a 4-parter. That was like the finale. The first 3 of them were just not very good. It had some like decent like emotional beats because of time travel, but overall like it felt like a mid-season versus the finale of a series that was in season 9. The last episode at least kind of like raised the stakes, but at the same time they never really felt like stakes, and the final like villain confrontation was kind of a huge letdown. Was it
freaking Reverse Flash again?
You know what? I'm not going to tell you because actually this one might surprise you.
So it's fucking Reverse Flash again.
It is a whole lot of things, and I legitimately, until you watch it, I do not think you'll guess what exactly is happening.
Savitar is back.
Like I said, I'm not going to tell you exactly, but like you're not actually going to guess what happened.
Mm-hmm. It was all a dream. You already told me.
I will give it credit. The Green Arrow episode was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they managed to like bring that in. Because that episode, it wasn't just Stephen Amell. They also had David Ramsey and I forget the kid's name who plays Kid Flash, but they had Wally also.
Yeah.
Because like the like synopsis thing for the episode, they're celebrating Barry's birthday, so that's why Diggle and Wally were there. Because apparently, because he keeps running through time and doing weird shit with his powers, he's actually de-aged himself somehow, and he gets to be 30 again.
I could have swore they did that already.
Well, so he had a 30th birthday, but they're having another 30th birthday for him.
No, I could have swore they did that. Like, he had double birthdays for a previous birthday. I could have swore they said that.
But yeah, that was kind of the setup, so that explained why they had characters there. They were never able to get Cisco back, though. That actor was just, he was like, I'm good, guys. Peace.
He just left the series. Like,
that was 3 seasons ago.
It was 2 seasons ago.
It was at the end of Crisis. That was 3 years ago.
No, it was the season after Crisis.
No, he left the season of Crisis, didn't he?
No, the season of Crisis he left. Cisco left to go around the world and figure out what changed from Crisis.
Right, and then he just wasn't on it very much. He
was mostly a recurring character, but he was still a series regular in the next season for a couple of for most of the season up until like maybe just past the midpoint. And that's when him and his girlfriend were like, yeah, we're leaving. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah, now he's like director of Argus or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah, he's got something to do with it.
I forgot about that. I forgot that because I remember him leaving on that weird trip. So I was just kind of putting them both together as he just left.
Yeah, it was, I think it wasn't last season.
It definitely wasn't last season.
Because last season it was all about Frost.
Yeah, and all the, wasn't last season also the...
Last season had 4 different storylines. It was...
Yeah, wasn't last season the one...
3 storylines. It was Frost, or it was, the Dark Firestorm. Deathstorm, which turned into Frost dying. And then it was dealing with Frost's death. And then it was the... Oh, no. Hold on. Rewind. Last season was it started with the
Armageddon
Speed Force
or whatever.
Wars. Or Armageddon or Speed, whatever it is, yeah. And then it was Darkstorm. And then it was dealing with her death. But also trying to find, what's her name? Iris. And then it was dealing with the, reverse forces.
Yeah.
Reverse Flash.
I just double checked. He officially left at the end of season 7. So 8 and 9 he was gone for.
Yeah.
Yeah, these last few seasons, just like we've talked about before, they weren't very good. They
were too disjointed. They had too many storylines going into them. Like, it's fine if you're going to have like an A and a B and a C storyline throughout a full series, but to have a series have 4 A storylines, that disconnects the season, and it makes it like
they also had 0 characters on the team without powers. Like everybody had an ability except for Chester.
And Iris. Chester has an ability. He does.
So-
He makes black holes.
No,
he just doesn't use it.
He doesn't anymore. That was retconned during Crisis.
Well, no, they did something to where he was able to be stabilized, and he just doesn't use his powers.
So no, like they actually talk about it in the final episode. He does not have those powers anymore. Like they retconned exactly what happened to him during Crisis. The black hole thing did happen, but it did not resolve the same way that it did on the show.
Oh my god, I hate that so much.
Yeah, no, that was stupid. But Iris occasionally does have powers. So like while the show may not have always had her with powers, like every character on that team has had powers at one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
Even fucking Joe's wife.
Well, I mean, she got powers a while ago, and then they just got better because she kept leveling up.
Dude,
that was a thing that
she was flying.
Yeah.
Like, minor spoiler, she flew in one of these episodes.
Wasn't she supposed to be evil? Didn't they hint at that at the end of last season?
So they did, but it ended up like it never went anywhere. It wasn't so much that she was evil; it was that she was her.
I know she was haunted by like her past memories or whatever.
Well, so her empathy powers became like Rogue. So like Rogue the X-Men, where she was actually stealing other people's powers and a little bit of their personalities. That's why she went from just being an empath to being able to read minds and do telekinesis and fly and a whole bunch of other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. It got out of hand with everybody being special. Like it was no longer the Flash; it was the Flash Friends.
It was the Justice League.
But it like not at the same time because
or like it was the Super Friends. Like they should have just turned the Flash into the Super Friends.
Yeah, basically.
Because that drives me nuts. Remember when they hinted at the twins?
Oh yeah. At the end of Crisis with the monkey.
Yeah, and we never got that.
No. Well, that's also they started canceling everything a year later. So
yeah,
they went from having a Justice League like headquarters to the entire Justice League was dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Green Arrow episode was solid. Not the best like storyline like villain wise, but like they did a good job of bringing that character back and letting him kind of have like actual moments with like some of the characters that like he had relationships with. That you didn't get during Crisis because Crisis was like the big crossover and he died in like the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he was not Oliver through the rest of it. But yeah, otherwise like it's sad that all these shows are over, but like The Flash in particular had really dropped in quality. And like the storylines were just not interesting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So like kind of glad it's over just so like they don't run it into the ground anymore. Cause those first few seasons of The Flash were really good.
It was like we talked about this before. It's what got me into the DCW verse.
Yeah, I am still rather salty that, and like I apologize, Rich. This is a spoiler that you also will already know is true. They just never fucking mention Harry again.
Yeah,
like there's like that one line right before Crisis when all the Earths are dying, where they're like, "Oh no, Harry and Jesse," and then that's it. Like after they find out that like the multiverse exists again. No mention of like, hey, we should go see if our friend is alive.
Well, he's not.
They don't know that.
They do. Harry is not alive. At least the Harry that they know, unless they were to find the Harrison Wells on their Earth and give him the memories of Harry.
Well, they did find Harrison Wells on their Earth.
Have Martian. Well, but that wasn't their Harry. That wasn't Earth Prime Harrison Wells. That was the Harrison Wells that was from... That was the... I can't remember what it is. No.
So the final Wells that they find in the show is the actual Harrison Wells from their Earth pulled out of time. He was from prior to the accident that Reverse Flash caused that killed him and then took over his body.
When was that?
Last season or the season before?
Because Thawne is in Wells' body. Last season.
Yes. But that Thawne is also like weirdly out of time because both Thawnes still show up. Like
yeah.
you have Wells Thawne showing up and you also have the other actor showing up. I think both of them showed up last season.
I don't remember Tom Cavanaugh being Wells.
Yeah.
Last season.
Cause it was weird because like I'm sorry, no, it was 2 seasons ago. It was Cisco's last season. Because Cisco was still there and had a moment with him where he's just like, I know you're not my Wells, but like whatever. Because Cisco never got he never got a goodbye with Harry really, and he never he never had any sort of closure with the Harrison Wells that ended up being Reverse Flash.
That was Wells from Crisis who caused Crisis. Because they needed that Wells to use his powers so that they could return the Flash.
No, that was Nash.
They could restart the yeah, that was on Nash.
No. I'm telling you, they found another Wells after that from Out of Time. That was in Cisco's last season.
I don't know, man. This is why I hate time travel.
Because like it basically ends with him going back to live his life or something like that with like his wife at the time.
This is why I hate time travel so much.
Yeah.
Because it gets so fucking muddy.
I don't disagree. Especially with a show like this where like it's hard to just keep track of how they did everything.
Well, because they had 5 different fucking timelines in the series. They had the original, then they had, technically they had Flashpoint universe, and then post-Flashpoint, and then they had, so it's 4 timelines, because then they had post-Crisis.
That's right. You know the thing that really fucking confuses me about it? So, and this is in this season, but it's not really spoiling, like, story beats. They show future stuff like they've done the last few seasons from, like 2049 or whatever, basically like when Nora is an adult and Bart is an adult.
Mm-hmm.
This season they actually, so like, you know, before like they never really showed any of the current characters. So like you never really saw them being older. They were just really showing Nora and Bart.
Yeah, you only really would see occasionally, Jay or, Iris.
Yeah. And even Jay is fucking weird. He was old in 2014. Why the fuck is he still like the same age in 2049?
Flash don't age. He keeps going back in time.
But his wife is too, and she doesn't have powers.
He's bringing her back in time too.
But so
I don't know.
In this flash forward, we're gonna call it. We see Chester, the girl who's Allegra, and Cecile. At the minimum, we see those 3. They do not look 25 years older. They look exactly like they do in 2023. Like, exactly. And I'm just like, you didn't even fucking try. You didn't even give them just a little bit of gray hair to be like, oh yeah, look, they're older. They're the same like, they didn't even put extra makeup on them. It's just like, what the fuck are you people doing? Try. Put in a little effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's over now. Some of the episodes were better than others, but overall, like, it's good that it's done.
Yeah. It's like I'll probably be sad to watch the end, but at the same time, like this season, like what I've seen of this season, I just didn't like.
Yeah,
so like that's what kind of stopped me. I was like, all right, this is bad. This is just not good.
Yeah, honestly, the Red Death stuff was like a super letdown because I feel like yes, that was a bummer the way that they did it in general. But I feel like it could have been more interesting if they would have like actually drawn that out and made that the big villain arc of the season rather than doing what they've been doing and just having like 4 different storylines that don't really go together at all and just being very convoluted and disjointed.
Yeah.
Cause like this season, cause you saw most of the Red Death stuff already, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
So
the last thing I remember was them at the military facility.
Did they get betrayed by anybody yet?
Oh yeah. What's his name? Iceman.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, turned on them.
Okay.
And then I think like I watched the episode after that where like he turned back. He traded on this trade or some shit like that because they captured Barry. I don't 100% remember.
Yeah, but like so that whole setup was there was another speedster, but also like that speedster had just recruited a bunch of other rogues that like had like appeared in other seasons, but were like, you know, being given things that made them a little more powerful. And like I thought that could have actually been more interesting than what they did. Not that it wasn't the best, but like better than what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, that's over in like episode 5, and then we have 8 more episodes after that.
Yeah,
and like 7 of them were fucking time loop episodes.
Of course they were.
I think the only episode that wasn't a time loop was the fucking Green Arrow episode.
Jesus Christ, really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, why?
Or if not a time loop, at least like time travel-y bullshit stuff.
Time travel adjacent.
Yeah. But Rich, do you want to talk a little bit about Star Ocean now?
Yeah, I can talk about Star Ocean. You don't want to talk about Zelda?
I'll do that afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still in Star Ocean. I think I'm I'm like 25-ish plus hours in.
What's the actual name of
At
the game
the
again?
moment, Star Ocean: The Divine Force. It kind of has mixed reviews on Steam. I think it's got like average reviews on everywhere else. I'm very much enjoying it, but there are a little bit of like hiccups with the game, like technical issues. Like it doesn't really run all that great. It runs well enough to be able to play. But like there are some like graphical errors and artifacting that's weird. Like the characters just all kind of phase in and out. It's very weird. And it's hard to really explain, but like as you're moving the camera around, they kind of become see-through. As you're just spinning the camera. It's very weird. And like sometimes the game runs weird. In order to run it on PC, you have to recompile the shaders like every so often. So like say like maybe once a week I recompile shaders just to make sure everything's running fine again, which is very weird to me that's the fix for that.
Okay.
But besides that, the game itself, like the gameplay is fun. It's very similar to Tales of Arise with their battle system, except the battle that doesn't load into a battlefield when you get into a fight. It's just all open on the world. So if you get into a fight, you're in the fight in the world. You're not like loaded into another screen, which honestly saves a lot of time. Experience gain is fucking phenomenal compared to Tales of Arise. Let me tell you, the fact that I'm like maybe just over halfway through the game and I'm like level 60, whereas I was barely level 40 at the end of Tales of Arise. Beautiful.
Well, did you consider just getting good?
I considered buying the level ups in for Tales of Arise.
Oh, that's right.
Sure.
You could buy level ups. I forgot about that.
And money. You can buy money as well because they did so bad at that instead of just patching it in, they're like, let's monetize this because they didn't actually do bad at it. That was their goal, was to make people pay for this shit. Money is fantastic in this game. I'll get through fights and I'll just see like you get 1,000 money for like each enemy that you fight, and you fought like 30 enemies in that fight. I'm just like, all right, great, 30,000 fucking fall, awesome. I'm happy. I'm not spending it on anything because there's nothing to spend it on. But the game itself, it's super fun. I really like it. It does have it does the story different, and I can't remember if I really talked much about this when I first played it. But you choose a character to start with. And you can either start with Raymond or you can start with Leticia. And based on who you start with will actually fill out cutscenes throughout the game based on who's there. So there's a whole sequence where you're getting told that like, oh, the king, after the attack that you guys were in with the king and you were able to get him home, his health took a little bit of turn for the worse, and now his brother is trying to take over the kingdom. So you get told this, and so Leticia, who's the daughter of the king, goes to deal with the kingdom, while Raymond and the rest of the team deal with whatever they were doing on the island that they were on. So it's like a whole dungeon sequence that I'd missed out on because I'm playing as Leticia and not as Raymond. But if I were playing as Raymond, I would have missed out on a whole like story sequence on that end. Which is just like, to me, that's a really cool concept.
That is actually kind of cool.
My only issue with it is it's a 40-plus hour game. So if you want to get both sides of the story, you need to go back and play the game again. And it doesn't change really that much. You just get to, like... So for instance, the game opens, if you're playing as Leticia, the game opens with you in the forest, and you see Raymond's pod crash land, and you go and check it out. Like, that's kind of how it opens. There's a little bit of dialogue, but there's nothing else. But if you play as Raymond, you get the whole, like, attack on his ship, and you get to know what's going on with him. So, like, it just started for me, because I was playing as her. The game just kind of starts. And there's no, like, little bit of this or that. It's just, boom, here you go. You're 10 minutes into the game, go do your thing. I'm like, oh... what are we doing though? What is the thing? And it's like, it does very good in the JRPG story of, well, the story is a bunch of little stories until the big thing happens, and then you find out this is the story. And so it's like, all right, side quest, or like all these main quests that are basically just side quests leading up to you collecting all of the characters, playable characters, and then finding out like, oh, by the way, this is what the story is, and now it's time to go to space. And it's like, oh shit, okay, I'm 35 hours in, I'm 40 hours in, and now I'm like, I finally, like, it took 20 hours for me to know like what the story was. And it was super cool that they did it that way, but it's also like, still don't know what's going on, and I'm 10 hours in, 15 hours in, and we're just like, oh, we're just trying to find people. That's really it. There's no real explanation. And then all of this shit happens, and now it's like, alright, now I know what the goal is. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's finish this. It's really cool. Very interesting how they did it.
And you think you're going to be wrapped up in the next, like, week or so?
I think I should have it done. It depends on whether or not I stream on Sunday. But I'm gonna play it tomorrow. I'll play it on Monday and Tuesday next week. I should have it beat by... I might have it beat by Wednesday. I don't know. I don't really know how far I am. Like, how much further I have left. Like, let's see. Steam is showing me 26 hours time played, but how long to play is 40 hours. So, like, even if I only do 3 hours a session, I should be an hour away from beating it. So, like, one of the sessions will probably end up being... Or no, if I do 3 hours a session, I'll still be, like, 6 hours behind. But, like, if I can play it on Sunday, if I end up streaming on Sunday, depending on how Saturday goes, I might have it beat Sunday night. Who knows? Who knows how accurate and how close I am with the timing. Because, like, I'm well overpowered for a lot of the enemies I fight. And it's also, one thing that really doesn't make sense to me is I have a guest character that has been in my party since they joined my party.
A guest character? So, like,
yes.
You don't have any control over them or anything?
Correct. That has been in my party basically since they joined my party. And I don't understand why they're still with me. And I don't really understand why they didn't just turn them into a playable character. So I am kind of convinced my game is glitched.
Is there maybe a side quest you never finished or something?
No. I mean, probably not. Because, so he ends up being like an insurrectionist and being part of trading on the kingdom and trying to stop your father from being king. And then turns back on his uncle, or his father, your uncle, and says, yeah, I can't do this, and I was wrong. And they even say, like, at one point, somebody's like, well, he helped us, can't we cut him some slack? And it's like, no one's gonna want to follow him, even though he's like a guard captain, no one's gonna want to follow him because he was an insurrectionist. So, for now, he's in jail. And then, like, literally, the next battle sequence scene that we're in, he's in it. He comments, like, he has a comment on a cutscene. And I'm like, why is he here? He should be in jail. I don't know what's going on here. And he's always there now. I'm like, why didn't you just make him... Why didn't you make him a playable character? Like, guest characters are fine if they're, like, escorting you or whatever, but at this point, he has been with my team longer than some of the other characters have been with my team. So why is he not just a playable character?
Yeah, I wonder if you did just miss something.
I don't know. It's possible, but I don't think so. There's no side quests that, like, are connected to him that I have unlocked. I could check, but, like, I'm still able to continue pushing through the main quest. Like I said, I'm about to go into fucking space. I'm about to leave the planet that you started on. Like, it's definitely, I don't know. And every time he's with me, I'm like, oh, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. He's gonna die. That's why they made him a guest character, because he's gonna die. I mean, he hasn't died. So, I don't know what it is. And it's just so weird. Like, that's like, and yes, I'm gonna use this example. That's like making Aerith a playable character in Final Fantasy VII, a character that dies, so where, in a game that, like, doesn't actually level up all your characters all at the same time, if she was one of your main characters, you are now fucked for a main character, and you have to level up somebody else.
So,
like,
is this one of those games where, like, if your, like, main character faints in battle, like, it's over?
No, luckily if your main character faints in battle, you can switch to a different main character, and command them.
Have you had an
to heal
up. Yet where everyone but the guest character died?
The guest, if everyone, no, I haven't. So I don't know if the guest character being there will no, yeah, I've had guest characters. There was one sequence where I did have guest characters, and I died. And that was, there was only 2 main characters, Letitia and Albert, and the rest of them were all guests. And I died twice in that sequence, so I had to restart it twice. Once or twice.
But, like, the guest characters didn't die, like,
No.
the battle ended, though, when your playable characters did?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that'd be funny if, like, all your player characters could die, and, like, you were still just, like, floating around, like, watching, like, the guests do their thing.
You know, that would suck in that sequence, because that sequence is a continual battle. And so if you need to use a healing item in order to come back from unconscious in a battle, but if you can clear the battle, then they'll come back with one HP left. And so if that's how that sequence ran, where the guest character kept going, that would probably break the game to an unbreakable loop of the guest character standing around your dead body, not actually healing you, and just fighting all the enemies that came towards you. So, like, it's a good thing they didn't do that, unless they would have been able to program that in better.
Huh. Like, sometimes you talk about this game and it's like, oh, that actually sounds like it's kind of cool. And other times you say stuff, you're like, did they not know what they were doing?
Yeah. And, like... That's probably why it got the mediocre mid-tier reviews. Like,
fair, yeah.
Go into this game not expecting something amazing, and you'll enjoy it. Like, the story is very good. The story is very interesting. Like, how they tell the story and the split storylines, even though they all, like, connect and are all together, but getting split, different, cutscenes and whatnot are all really cool. It's a very cool feature. But again, like, it's like something like fucking crafting in this game sucks.
I mean, is there I know that this is an opinion. Is there really ever good crafting in games?
Yes, there is good crafting. When you have control over what you're crafting, that's good crafting in games. When it's just completely fucking random what you're going to get based on the item you're crafting with, that's bad crafting in games.
I don't know. That sounds like most games.
No, what I mean is, I know, but, like, it's fucking... I have 3 quests now that require me to craft items. They're all side quests that I'm never going to do. I sat there for an hour trying to craft 5 items for a side quest. 5. They're supposed to be tethered robes. That's it. Just I fucked up crafting tethered robes that you're supposed to be able to make from, like, scraps or whatever. An hour. Maybe close to 200 of these tethered robes. I have 3 of them.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's terrible.
But it's so a side quest, at least.
It's a side quest, so you don't have to do it, but it's like, alright, the completionist in me wants me to do it, but it's also to, like, get the best armors, to get the best weapons, you need to craft. But crafting is not something you can do in bulk. Crafting is not something you can do quickly. It's, like, you go into the crafting menu, you pick your crafting style, so it could be, like, making, like, alchemy, basically. Alchemy, cloth craft, blacksmithing, engineering, and there's 3 others I still haven't unlocked yet. You pick which one of those that you want. Then you pick which one of your characters is going to do the crafting. And then you pick which item you're going to craft with. And in some instances, for instance, the engineering or the alchemy, you pick 2 items. And so you could pick, like, a blueberry and a something. And you could make a something. If you pick 2 blueberries, what do you think that makes you?
A blueberry pie.
No. So in the game, it's blueberries are the basic healing items instead of potions, and there's blueberry potions, which are, like, the stronger healing items, and then there's things like that. If you pick 2 blueberries, what do you think you're going to get?
A minor health potion.
I got blueberries. For crafting together 2 blueberries.
So you put 2... Wait.
I put 2 blueberries together, and I got a blueberry.
So you lost a blueberry in this.
I lost a blueberry multiple times. But then there were other times I put 2 blueberries together, and I got a blueberry potion, which is the stronger healing. It's from, I think it's 20% to 50% or something like that. It's random. And it's bad, because why am I getting a blueberry from putting together 2 blueberries?
Well, maybe because you squished one while trying to shove them together.
I guess so.
There can be only one blueberry.
But then it's like, the weapon craft and the blacksmithing, you take an item and you roll with it. And you can't have it always use that item. It's every time you hit the item to craft, and then it brings you into the crafting screen, and you have to hit A for it to show you what you crafted, and then it brings you back to the main screen where then you have to hit A to select an item, select the item, and then say yes. And you always have to move down to the item you're trying to craft with. So like if it's the last item you're trying to craft with, you have to hit A to verify that you're using that character again. Press up so that you go to the bottom of the list since you're starting at the top of the list. Press A again. Are you sure you want to use this item? Yes. Alright, we'll craft. And then they always have a call out every time they craft. Ooh, fascinating. Every time. Ooh, fascinating.
This game just sounds better and better the more you talk about it.
There are aspects of this game that are really good. And then there's crafting. And it makes, and I'm not doing endgame content because I don't want to sit there having to craft. You can get up to level 250. Totally, you can get to 250. Like, there's a lot of hard final bosses, but I'm not interested in doing the crafting. And that's the only way to get, like, the better armors and the best armors and the high level gear and things like that. And it's just like, crafting is not fun in this game. Like, I don't mind if I had to have certain sets of items and then click to craft it and it crafts it or whatever, or if I have to tier it up. Like, crafting in Tales of Arise, great. Because it's just, you have item, you have other items, put them together to make item.
That sounds like regular crafting.
That's crafting, and it works. Not, you have item, and you want to see what item does to it. Oh, well, you just made trash. Oh, well, now you made, like, the greatest item in the world. But you can never probably make that again because it was super rare. All right, well, I want to make the trash. I don't want the rare item. So you know what? Let's go again because I'll probably make trash. No, you just made super rare item again. But I want the trash. Give me the trash. Well, you just made super rare item a third fucking time. Fuck this game sometimes, man. Like, that is the biggest downfall of the game is the crafting. Everything else, I'm enjoying a lot about it. It's just the crafting. And apparently, like...
Because
I am.
Drew, are you getting the sense that he's enjoying anything about this game?
I mean, enjoying might be stretching it, but also it feels like the crafting has really messed with him.
The crafting and the guest character.
Yeah.
No, the guest character I find funny and just confusing. I find that hilarious. Like, I'm like, why is he a guest character still? Why is he with me? But, like, it's the crafting, and I think everyone agrees, anywhere you can look, everyone agrees, like, the crafting is very bad. It's very bad. And it's not worth it in some occasions, because it's like, you could spend, I was reading, to craft one of the items for the quest, it's like, oh yeah, this could take you upwards of like 2 or 3 hours to get.
Yeah, that's too
long.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not doing that. And it's like, oh, and you might need to save scum to do it as well. Because you can't easily get the items you need to make the thing. So you're going to need to get a full stack of the items that you need, save, craft 20 times, find out that you didn't get it, and then reload your save to try it again. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back out to get the items again.
So have you just given up on crafting unless you absolutely have to?
Oh yeah, I'm done with crafting. I'm done with crafting. I'm at a point of the game where, like, I have unlocked all of the abilities and all of the buffs and passive abilities for the characters to where I'm now basically... So they have, like, a skill tree or a sphere grid, basically, in a sense. It's not as much the sphere grid, but it's like it's a grid system that, like, you learn a thing and then everything around it, it's a hexagonal system. Everything touching the hexagon that you learned can then be learned. And you get skill points and you put them towards it. I am at the point where I've learned every skill, every ability increase. And now it's just powering up the skills that I have and that I use. So making them stronger. And so I can just, at this point, boost my passives that heal me and always have the healing character on who heals a lot. And it's like, alright, well, I'm good now. I don't have to worry about dying because I get healed very fast.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Anything else you want to say about Star Ocean?
No, it's a very fun game. But I should
all that great crafting, all those guest characters.
Crafting. Yeah, hopefully the end pans out well. And then I can figure out what I'm going to play next, because I want it to be Tears of the Kingdom, but I also just had a viewer buy me New World, so I might jump into that, which New World's an MMO, so I don't really know if I want to jump into that.
Yeah, Drew, didn't you try that?
It's terrible, Walnut. Don't play it.
I can't not play it. I had somebody buy it for me.
Return it. Don't take their money back.
No.
It's not a good game.
Isn't that the Amazon MMO?
I'm shocked
it's
it's still
MMO.
alive.
Yeah, actually, I thought they shut it down.
No, just everyone I
not.
know that started playing it has quit, and actually quit within a month. Like, actually, I had one friend, one old coworker. She was playing it for a while. Everyone else I know that was playing it quit the month it came. I was like, yeah, it was shocker. It was fucking boring as fuck.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
I mean, it's an MMO.
I mean,
with like, I can tell you already know what this game is without playing it.
I mean, it's not a lot. I'm not saying this is a lot, but currently right now, the last 24-hour peak on Steam charts is 19,000 playing it. Which, I mean, yeah, that's nothing compared to like Final Fantasy or WoW, but they bought it for me. It was $20, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, and I'll play it, and I'll see how it is, and
yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
I'll play it, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I like it, I like it. It was on my Steam wish list, and he bought it for me, and I was like, all right, I'll give this a shot.
So you did it to yourself by having it on your wish list?
No, I didn't I didn't ask him to buy it for me. He bought it for a bunch of people, is what it was. He didn't just buy it for me. He bought it for a handful of people.
So he's just a masochist.
He's the one person who was still playing it and is trying to sucker people into playing it with.
Maybe.
Or maybe he doesn't play it, and he's just like, I'm going to get all these assholes to fucking play this really shitty game. It's going to be great.
But yeah, I'm gonna probably give that a shot, but also like, not what's the word? Not strict all the time. Like, it might be in conjunction with Monster Hunter Rise and Remnant, where it's like, all right, once a week I'll probably jump onto this on my spare time or whatever, on stream, but offline it'll be like whenever I've got time, I'll maybe jump in. Like, it'll probably be my new Apex / Monster Hunter / Remnant type of game.
Which that makes sense.
Because I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom. I really want to play it.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about it.
Sure. Tell me a little bit more about it.
It's a game.
How many more dicks have you made?
I haven't made any. I'm very bad at crafting.
You're not playing the game right then, because you're not making dicks.
Honestly, I don't know how to. I don't know what... I have not found anything useful for building things. I find some wood, some like flat pieces of wood. I don't have any of the cool shit you see in videos.
You haven't found any cylinders? No.
I
mean, I was watching somebody play, and they found like a fucking... Basically, it's like a gumball machine.
Yeah, so
where you spin the thing, and like it drops a bunch of little balls that has all the crafting materials on it. I do have some of those. Those are the Zonai artifact things, where like they are the things that let you do like automation stuff. So they're fans and rockets and the gliders. They also you can get portable one-time use cooking pots out of those. So if you're in a position where like you need to like make something to survive like the hot or the cold, you can drop one of those, throw the ingredients into it, and make something. It just sucks. You can only make one something, so you have to make sure that you know the recipe is going to give you the buff you need, and that it's going to give you a significant enough one to do whatever it is you need to get done. Mm-hmm. I did it once to see if it actually worked. There is an item duplication glitch that is hilarious. All you have, it got patched out. But all you had to do was have the glider out. As soon as the glider's out, pause the game and hold items. And when you unpause the game, you drop all the held items on the ground, but they never leave your inventory. Mm-hmm. So then you can just pick them all back up. It's very, very goofy. Cause you can just, I mean, like, you know from Breath of the Wild, like, money is not, like, the easiest thing to get. But in this case, like, if you just mine a little bit, you can just duplicate all your whatever the more expensive stuff are, like the opals or something. Yeah. I mean, that was how you had to get, like, if you needed to spend, which at one point or another, money became pointless in Breath of the Wild. But if you needed money in Breath of the Wild, it would be going and fighting the what's it called? the golems and mining off of them.
Yeah, and it's similar now, like, there's lots of caves and stuff with the little, like, mineral vein black things that you just have to hit with a stick and a rock. Like, literally, you can break them by just picking up a stick as a weapon and then fusing it to a nearby rock. And the bigger the rock, the less hits you need. Some of that stuff is actually, like, the fusion stuff is actually very cool. The, like, combining things to make, like, devices is, I personally find it less interesting to actively do. But I'm not, like, a sim game, like, I don't like building stuff in games anyway. Like, I don't play Minecraft and whatnot. So most of the stuff that I build is very, like, get the job done. Like, I will put a bunch of pieces of wood together so that I can get across the gap. Or if one of the little shitty Kuroks needs to get across the field, I will put some fucking, some nearby wheels on something. Because that is one thing that they're decent about. I mentioned it before, you occasionally find Kuroks that are, like, on an adventure, and they get separated from their friend, and they basically need you to take them to their friend. And there's always stuff nearby to build to make that possible. So, like, I'll grab the fan and the couple of wheels, strap it onto something, and shoot them across the field in it. And just hope that I don't go, like, careening off a cliff. But, it is a fun game. I still have the same complaints with Breath of the Wild, but I think, like, they took a lot of the Breath of the Wild stuff and made it better in some interesting ways. There's also an entire underground that they didn't really talk about in the pre-stuff. Like, all the pre-stuff were the Sky Islands. The Sky Islands are fucking boring. There's nothing there. Like, your initial set of them, there's stuff there because it's basically your new starting plateau. But then, after that, it's like, maybe there's a shrine on one of them. There might be, like, a treasure chest on one. But for the most part, like, there's not really anything up there. So, but what you do find around the world are, like, these giant holes in the earth surrounded by this, I forget what it's called, but it's basically a substance that if you touch it for too long, it will permanently decrease your maximum health.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, like, if you just, like, run through it really quickly, it will lower your hearts, like you were getting injured, but it won't remove them. If you're there too long, like, your maximum hearts will actually decrease permanently, which it's fucking rough. But if you dive into those holes, like glide into them and dive down, there's, like, an actual, like, almost like Elden Ring. There's a whole subterranean, like, area to explore. And it's pitch black, so you have to, like, find ways to light things up, which is interesting. And it's got, like, different types of enemies, different types of obstacles. It's how you actually find some of the cooler items in the game. And, like, the game barely even tells you it's a place you can go. Like, the first time I found it, I had seen the hole and not realized what it was because I was really high up and just kind of dove at it. And I was getting close enough that, like, when I realized what it was, I'm like, oh, well, if I die, I die. I don't have enough stamina at this point to glide out of its area of effect. So, like, I'm just gonna go through this hole and see what happens. And then, like, I landed and it was, like, this whole new world. Like, Land of the fucking Lost.
That's one thing that makes me happy about this game, because they didn't really talk much about the underground. Like, I was very bummed out that it's just the same map. I was like, they really didn't put any time. I was starting to feel like they didn't put any time to this. It's just like cash grab. Like, they were like, let's just release the same thing. But it's like, no, they added technically two new areas, but a whole new area, at least one whole new area that's like a full-on biome that they didn't have in the first one.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't consider the Sky Islands an area because other than a few cases where there are just a few that are super close together and you're meant to traverse between them, they're very small and very far apart. So you really aren't going from Sky Island to Sky Island. In a lot of cases, you're getting to them when you unlock new towers, because the towers shoot you up into the sky. And occasionally, if you find, like, a falling rock, you can use your time rewind power to have it shoot you back up into the sky. But more often than not, like, at least where I'm at, it's not easy to get up to them. And you can tell from the ground, like, there's not a whole lot going on them. They're mostly just there for, like, shrines and treasure. That's also where those gumball machines are you were talking about, which you have to have a specific resource to put into them. And the more of that resource you put in, the more of, like, the gumball gotcha things pop out. But yeah, that's cool. I did do one of the, let's call them dungeons. It's not really a dungeon, like in a traditional sense. It's similar to the Divine Beasts, only it does have more. There was more to this than like the Divine Beasts had. You first, because this thing was in the sky, like higher than most of the towers even send you. You have to first like traverse like a bunch of sort of like pseudo platforming areas. That involve a lot of like jumping off of things, gliding onto like springboards, stuff like that, while also avoiding enemies, defeating enemies. Not really puzzly, but still, one wrong move and you're going to fall off and then have to do a chunk of it over again. And then when you finally get to the thing, it's a giant ship in the sky, basically. You do have, like, there are a couple of like minor puzzles there, before you unlock the boss. And I will say, probably the coolest boss in like this game and Breath of the Wild so far. It reminded me of, Rich, do you remember the like the tainted dragon, I guess we'll call it, from Breath of the Wild? The one that was like curled around the peak of that one mountain that you had to like cleanse or something like that?
Yeah, I think that was the ice dragon. Or no, was it the lightning dragon? It was the ice dragon. That like you had to climb. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
So it kind of reminded me of that. It was this weird ice rock monster, like very long, kind of like a Chinese dragon, kind of like the dragons that are flying, but wider and more sinister, and made of mostly rocks. And it would fly in and out of like dimensional portals it would create. And you had constant stamina, and there were gusts of wind blowing up, so the whole fight is done in the air. And you have to keep changing between pulling out the glider to like get you higher in the air, and then doing like your free fall, and sometimes doing like a free fall where like you tuck yourself in so that you dive bomb, and other times just kind of like letting Link open his arms so that you glide a little bit more. And the whole boss cycle for it is he has 3 points that are like made of ice that you can either shoot with arrows, or if you can get the right angle, you can dive bomb through them. So the whole idea is trying to like line yourself up right to take those 3 things out, while avoiding all of his different attacks. Mm-hmm. And like, I enjoyed that than any of the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild. It was probably a similar like amount of like fun to like some of like the Ganon bits at the end. Cause I did enjoy fighting Calamity Ganon at the end. Like I thought like the different phases were interesting once you kind of got the hang of them.
Yeah.
And this was similar. Like once you kind of get the hang of what you're doing, you start seeing like different ways that you can go about it. But otherwise, it's very similar to Breath of the Wild. You've lost everything for some reason. I understand why you have to get like hearts and stamina and stuff again. But you also can't carry stuff, so you have to do all the fucking Korok seeds again. And apparently, you just never had a house or anything, even though you had a house. So you lost all of your clothes.
That was a side quest.
But like, still, you have to go back and rebuy all of the clothing that lets you survive in all the elements. I
mean, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so
it's like you took back the castle and you were a guard. All of your clothes and property should be there.
Exactly.
The only thing that they like don't really have to explain is the Master Sword, because at the end of the game you bring the Master Sword back.
Yeah, and so there is a reason why you're not using the Master Sword. There's a reason why you have to re-get your hearts and your stamina. All that stuff is fine. But like, you go back to the village that they've set up on the outskirts of the castle. They know you there. You obviously have like spent time there, but you do not have a single piece of fucking clothing other than like the loincloth you find in the Sky Islands. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and all the clothes is like 1,200 rupees a piece. And you need 3 pieces of it to be able to survive the winter. It's like, come on guys. Fucking, I did this already. Just they let you, if you had fucking horses, they let you bring the horses over from Breath of the Wild, but they don't let you bring your clothes.
They really let you bring your horses over?
Yeah, I didn't do it because I never had any stabled horses. But I've heard people talk about there was a way to import horses, like if you had Epona, you can bring Epona into the game.
I wonder if I had Epona.
I believe Epona came from one of the amiibos.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure though. But you have to do if you want to ride horses, you do the same thing where you have to like basically befriend them. Like the more friendly you are with your horse, the less likely it is to wander away. And if you get like a saddle or whatever, like you can just call it to you as needed. They do kind of the same thing in this one, but if you've already bonded a horse like that, you could bring it over from your Breath of the Wild save. That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so far, I'm probably somewhere between 20 and 30 hours. I haven't gotten any good weapons yet. Like, in Breath of the Wild, you could somewhat early, you could start getting the good, Guardian weapons. They were Guardians, right? Is that what they were called? Like the blue glowy swords and spears and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they were supposed to be Guardians that Calamity Ganon turned against.
Right, yeah. So far, like, 20, 30 hours in, like, and I've unlocked all but 2 sections of the map so far. I'm still just getting, like, between 6 and 14 damage weapons that break in 2 hits because they're made of rust and wood. I'm like, I just want, like, a cool sword. Like, I know it's going to break in 4 hits instead of 2, but, like, can I at least have a cool sword that does a little bit more damage? Because I keep running into, like, the enemies that are, like, more challenging, like the big, like, troll-looking guys. I forget what they're actually called. The ones that are usually sleeping and, like, might have stuff, like, dangling around their neck.
Oh, Hinox's, Hinoi, something like that.
Yeah, so, like, you find them. I actually, in the northwestern section, I found a giant fucking 3-headed dragon monster that, like, just started chasing me. And it's like, he absolutely would have killed me in 1 hit, but, like, I didn't even have a weapon that, like, would, like, do damage to him.
It's Dark Souls, baby. You gotta fight it. You gotta fight it. To get the good stuff, you gotta fight it.
They don't drop weapons, though.
You gotta fight it, get the good stuff.
That's not how this works. It's gonna drop, like, 2 rocks and an eye to use in some fucking potion that I'm never gonna make.
I mean, yeah, you gotta put the rocks and eye together to make a penis. And then fight it.
Unfortunately, that's not how the combination stuff works.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, so fusing items, you can only fuse an item to your main, like, in-use weapon or your active shield. You can put those things away and, like, then bring out something different. But it has to be that the item's currently in your hands and the item you're fusing to it has to just be on the ground. So if you have stuff in your bag, you have to drop it first. And then you can fuse that one item. You can't fuse 2 items onto the same thing. So if I fused like a bomb to my shield, I couldn't then fuse a minecart to my shield and make, like, an exploding shield minecart.
I've seen videos of people that create rocket dicks and send them out Hinoxes.
Because you get rockets that you can attach to things. So attaching and fusing are 2 different things.
I'm telling you, you gotta attach the eyes and rocks together to make them into a dick, and then throw them at the thing, and it's gonna kill them.
I don't know if you can attach eyes.
I don't know. I haven't played the game enough at all.
There's limitations to the items that you can pick up with your giant hand ability, which is the ability that lets you stick 2 things together. And there's a limit to, like, what things can be stuck together. So, like, you can't attach, like, if you're trying to build, like, a bridge, you can attach a bunch of pieces of wood and, like, some rocks to each other, but you can't attach one end to, like, the ground or to a wall. Like, you just have to find, like, the right leverage point for it or make it super long so that it just lays across everything evenly.
Mm-hmm.
And, like sometimes it results in, like, some kind of cool stuff happening. Like, I was able to, there was, a broken elevator and you need a guy to get up to it to activate a tower. So I accidentally lost, like, the rock that you're supposed to use to get up there. I dropped it and it fell down below, so I had no way to get it back up. But I was able to just attach a bunch of other stuff to this fucking pulley system until it eventually weighed the elevator down. It took, like, 20 minutes, but I just picked up every other thing in the area that was, like, attachable and just kept attaching it to each other, and eventually the elevator came all the way up.
Yeah.
It was not the way it was meant to be done, but it worked.
Nice.
But yeah, it's cool. You will probably like it a whole lot more than I do.
Yeah, I more and more videos and times I see people playing it, I'm like, man, I want to play this game so much.
Yeah, it's very cool, but, like, I still don't like the combat very much. It's just not fun combat, and I try to build stuff. I'm just very bad at building stuff. Like, everything I build tends to not quite work right.
Just get good.
You know, I'm sure if I, like, spent time trying to figure stuff out, I would, but I'm also, like, every time I use those gumball machines, I don't get, like, the cool stuff very often. So I'm, like, super hesitant to waste the cool stuff because once you've basically opened the little ball it comes out in, that's it. Like, you don't get it back after that. So it's like a one and done. So I'm, like, always a little hesitant, like, to use, like, the rockets or the fans on something that, like, might not work unless I need it to, like, do a thing. That's
the prisoner's dilemma of playing video games, especially games like RPGs.
Yep.
Like, you don't use a consumable because you may need it at some point in the future. But you need it now, but you're not going to use it because you may need it later.
Exactly, and it's a shame because it's one of those things where if it was just a consumable that I knew I could get more of, sure, like I will use it. This is one of those things where because it's kind of like you were talking about the crafting, those items are all random and require you to have a specific resource to even randomly get them. And they're only on the Sky Islands that there are like enough levels of just frustration in front of it that it's not worth taking the chance of using a fan and then finding a giant lake that I need to get across and absolutely needing that fan to be able to get across the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it very much is that sort of dilemma. But I think that's probably it for this week.
Yeah, it's a show.
So real quick, SGDQ is happening right now. It's good. People should go watch it. It's on till like Sunday early morning. Then they're at like $550,000 raised so far for Doctors Without Borders.
Cool.
So, good times. But other than that, I believe next week we are watching Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yep. So next week, a book club, Nicolas Cage themed, Gone in 60 Seconds. Other than that, you can find more of our content over at www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there at your dollars though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps us. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. And then, Rich, you have your big stream thingy on Saturday?
Yeah, twitch.tv/b_1us for game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
No. I specifically said Saturday. You don't talk about your other days of the week, sir.
This upcoming Saturday is my 2-year stream anniversary celebration. So my 2-year stream anniversary is the 1st, this Thursday. But because I wanted to do something big and special, I'm pushing off the celebration until Saturday for a subathon. It is going to be 9 o'clock Eastern, 9 in the morning Eastern time, probably 10 actually. I might move it to 10, but right now it's listed at 9 Eastern time until ? It's a subathon, so the more subs and bits and things like that are donated and or given to me, the longer I'll be live. I believe it's a half hour per sub is what I'm going to have set up, just because I made my time worth way less money last year. Friggin' $5 an hour. No, $2.50 an hour is what I made last year. Where was I? Oh yeah. We'll be doing Mario Kart throughout majority of the day and Super Smash Bros. At the evening. As long as we're live, we'll be doing tournaments for both. The Mario Kart tournament will be an open tournament, so first come, first serve. More people that are available to play during the hours will be able to compete. The person with the highest points and second highest points and third highest points win a prize. And Smash Bros, it'll be first, second, and third place will all win a prize as well, as long as we have enough people playing it as well. If we only have like 4 people, we're not doing a tournament. We need like at least, 12 probably, I'd say. So come hang out, check it out.
All right. And for what it's worth, on Saturday also, I will be going to Fan Expo Philly, which is like the replacement Wizard World.
Nice.
Yeah. So that should be interesting. And yeah, I guess that's it. So we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
See yous.